There's no doubt from what I saw that live ammunition was fired before any Israeli soldier was on deck.
Prohibited items that Israel won't allow into Gaza. I'll give you an example. The Economist reported things like ginger, nutmeg, canned fruit, dried fruit, fresh meat, seeds and nuts, and they go on. Musical instruments, newspapers, wood for construction. Is that...
And our soldiers are trained to protect themselves. They had sidearms. They used those sidearms only to save their own lives. That was necessary.
But it was such a case of extreme self-defense. How does a young man get shot 4 times in the head and 1 time at the chest at close range?
You know, on one side you have the settlements in the West Bank, which are completely illegal. You have about 500,000 settlers in the West Bank, completely illegal, armed settlers in the West Bank with swimming pools when the Palestinians don't have access to clean water in their own land.
No one is hungry in Gaza. Aid is going in on a daily basis.
No, it's not. Ask Amnesty International, ask Human Rights Watch, ask the UN.
People are hungry. They have no electricity. The food is very scarce. The water is not that much needed. And what now they are trying to get in Gaza, what are they getting? Anything is they are getting it from the tunnels, from Egypt. And Israel is blocking everything.
Israel has a very reliable justice system.
Every one of our cameras, every one of our computers, every one of our cell phones was taken from us. Professional journalists that were there, that were filming things, every bit of their equipment's gone. I would estimate that there's at least $1 million worth of equipment that has been taken from these nearly 800 people that were part of the flotilla. We've seen pictures already of smashed cameras, smashed beyond belief. They want to control the media. They want us to see only what they want.
Imagine for a minute, never allowed out, no one's allowed in, you have no jobs, that depend on handouts, you know, rice and some oil. Wouldn't you hate the person that's doing it to you?
You rejected a United Nations investigation. You won't cooperate with the United Nations as far as an investigation of the flotilla?
We're not going to have an international panel of jurists sitting in judgment on Israel's action. That cannot possibly be a balanced panel. And again, as a democracy, it's part of our sovereign right and duty to investigate ourselves.
Obviously, about 3 or 4 people killed in front of me. 1 shot in the head, just there. I've been robbed. They've taken my money, my passports, my driving license, credit cards. All I have is this. And I washed this. There was a bit of blood all over the place, but I washed it a bit. So here I am with nothing.
Every single, the United Nations and also Amnesty International, all the human rights reports that have come out of Gaza say this siege is a collective punishment, which is against the Geneva Convention, Article 33. They've said that it has to stop. They've said that it has to, that the Palestinians have suffered immeasurably because of it, and they've said that there's nowhere near they're getting enough aid in. So where does this person here say, and the other propagandists for Israel, say, what evidence do they have that can possibly lead to suggest that they don't need this, when all the human rights groups and the United Nations and the Geneva Conventions in terms of collective punishment all say that this blockade is absolutely devastating, wrong, and should be stopped, and the boat should be let in?
So a second person killed. After that, actually 3 other people who were shot with live bullets were taken downstairs. They remained injured, at which point, when the Israelis came on board, the Israeli soldiers came on board, they stood outside the cabin where everyone was gathered, and people put up signs saying that these people are injured. They put the signs up in English, in Hebrew, they waved white flags. There was a Knesset member who approached the Israeli soldiers saying, we have injured, she was saying, they have injured people, please come and take them, yet the Israelis refused. 3 hours later, all 3 of those people that were injured ended up dying on the spot because no one came to take them. There's no doubt from what I saw that live ammunition was fired before any Israeli soldier was on deck.
The King's Torah, a settler rabbi, publishes the complete guide to killing Gentiles who threaten Israel, including children and babies. Are such calls harmless, or do they drive official policy and manipulate the masses?
Actions that killed and injured women and children and men in their homes.
Political people may say whatever they want. The problem is not political but religious. When a minute people are becoming religiously fanatic, reason is becoming irrelevant. They do it for religious purpose, fanatic.
The former Israeli General Nehemiah Dagan, who for many years was in charge of army education, says mixing religion with military can be a dangerous mix. A common theme in religious Zionism, where serving in the army is a form of religious duty.
It says in the Torah that we have to go to the army.
By publishing a new book in which he appears to authorize the killing of non-Jews who are accused of posing a threat to Israel. The book, called The King's Torah, contains quotations from the Talmud, a scholarly Jewish text, to which the rabbi adds his own opinions and interpretations. In a chapter entitled The Killing of Gentiles in Wartime, the rabbi writes, "In any circumstances where the presence of a Gentile causes danger to Israel, it is permitted to kill the Gentile." In addition, he says, in cases where there is a strong suspicion that someone will continue persecuting Jews, it is permissible to kill him, even if at this moment he is not actively persecuting.
Months after Israel's offensive in Gaza, and the controversy continues, especially over the new role played by the army's rabbis, as seen here in a leaflet obtained by breaking the silence, distributed to combat soldiers in Gaza, which carry the logo of the military rabbinate.
I will chase down my enemy and I will not return until he's destroyed, and so on. That's as religious biblical reference as you get.
Hear what the world thinks about what our land is or what our land is not.
You don't care what the world thinks?
No.
Why?
Because we are a chosen nation, and the world knows that. And God promised us Jerusalem.
Jewish historian Tony Jutt wrote in 2006, on Israel's 58th birthday, that the country was curiously immature and, quote, consumed by a brittle confidence in its own uniqueness, certain that no one understands it and everyone is against it, and full of wounded self-esteem, quick to take offence and quick to give it, end quote.
Less than 2 hours after the families are evicted, the Israeli police help more than 20 Jewish settlers move into the now empty properties.
And in this war, the Palestinians in Gaza have nothing. And Israel is one of the strongest states in the world.
For example, instead of having a guard sitting on the wall with Gaza that will shoot at any Palestinian that comes near to the wall, they have a special something weird there that looks like, I don't know, coming from outer space. It's like a sphere. And there are a lot of surveillance cameras inside. And then there are women who sit in a base, an army base, inside Israel, far from there, who control these cameras, and when they see something moving, they can shoot it from afar. So they have a room full of people who just control this entire section of the wall with Gaza. The system is called Ro'ayora, which means seeing shooting in the feminine, because it's all women. And it's quite obscene if you think about it.
Could you tell me this then? To us as outsiders, the David and Goliath situation that exists between you and the Palestinians, particularly in Gaza, they don't appear to have an economy. They don't appear to have a society. They don't even appear to have a way of life. And now, in the last couple of months, 80–90% of their homes are destroyed. They have no source of income. This is, I guess, why the world was shocked at the ferocity of your attack on Gaza.